BI content installation. So what is it we are going to start is BI content installation. Right, so now, as of now what you have seen, we started creating the objects and we were working, right? So I created info objects, info cube, DSO, multiplayer, info set, data sources, whatnot. Almost all the things we have started, created, and we have used this particular objects. And you have seen flat file extraction, wherein I was creating my own objects. Now, but when it comes to extracting the data from R3 side, when it comes to extracting the data from R3 system, so R3 is a very big source system. And one more thing is what? It's all ready-made. R3 is what? A ready-made application we said. So there, what is that now? The data is stored in the form of a what? Table I said. So tables are also ready-made. Ready-made application means ready-made database. Ready-made tables are there. Even you have ready-made fields also, right? So now suppose, imagine, right now I am logging onto my R3 system. Okay, right now I am in R3 system. So let us say, I am showing you some ready-made table in R3 now. To see the table, what you have to do? You have to go with SE11. So R3 comes with almost 4.5 lakh plus ready-made tables are there. So now whenever you want to extract data from R3, what will be your source now? These ready-made tables that has been given by SAP. See now. Suppose there is one table in R3 called as KNA1. The table name is what? KNA1. So KNA1 is a table where your master data of customer will be stored. What data is going to store here is customer master data. So KNA1 is a table where what is the information of the customer? Where it will get updated in R3 is in a table called as. Suppose you want to extract customer master data from R3. You want to extract customer master data from R3. So what is your source now? KNA1 table. See now just observe, click on display. So just click on display. So what is it? This is general data in customer master. How many fields you have? 100 and what is that field you can observe? What is customer number is your tick mark means it's a primary key. See? Kunar is your primary key, customer number. Then you have country, name, city, postal code, region, house number, telephone number, fax number, address, all these are what? Attributes. All information of customer now. So, like this, so suppose you want to extract data of customer master data from R3 to BI side. Now, what you have to do? How many info objects you want to create in BI now? So like that, how many info objects you have to create in BI side? Is it easy? Huh? Can you recommend to create that many objects in BI side? What happens? Observe now. It's a tick mark as the primary key. So now first you have to create one info object. This is of type what? Character, and length should be given as 10. So like this, sir, I cannot go and create these many info objects in BI side. So what has been done, even in BI also they have given some ready-made objects. Ready-made info objects are available, ready-made cubes are available, ready-made DSOs are available, whatnot. Almost everything is ready-madely given. So those ready-made objects which are given in BI is same according to what? According to your R3. That ready-made objects that are given in BI are called as BI content objects. So what is BI content means? The ready-made objects which are given in BI are called as. Now just observe now here, this is a demo system, some dummy data is already given. Just check out, look at the contents there. So I'm just taking an example to check the data of customer number. Dummy data is given, I said, no? So customer number 1, he's from what? US. His name is Nelson Tax and Associates, city is Philadelphia, postal code, region, street, the telephone number. So like this. Now how data coming and updating into these tables is? How data will come and store into this table? That's all business. When the end user, sales department end user or purchase department end user or any end user starts creating a customer. Suppose, now what I am saying is this window is the end user task. That is what is business. So end user will use a transaction called XD01 to create a customer. So what is it now? Customer. So if I start creating a customer from here, it will go and store into which table now? The KN11 table. That is what is your information. This data you are going to extract it into BI. Or let us say, imagine I am saying XD02 is to change the customer. What is that customer? So what is that now? Let us say I am checking for the customer number 1. Can you understand? See here, what is that name? You have seen this name in the database table or not? And what is the street? What is that address? Postal code? Right? All this is now. So if I do some change here, if I change something here, it will go and affect in your, okay? It will go and store into your TN11 table. Okay, like that. So this is all business. This data will be getting updated into your, so like that. So now this is your RP system wherein data is all ready-made tables, ready-made fields. So now I cannot go and create all the info objects according to live system. So the advantage with BI is it has been given some predefined content is available. That predefined content is called as what? BI. So now what is that now? See, all the which are given in BI are called as what? BI content objects. So what is that now? So all the ready-made objects which are given in BI are called as. Now just now I shown in R3 some table I have shown. Now just come back to your BI side. Let me show you that ready-made object also. So I am logged on to BI. Okay, the ready-made field name was Kunnar, right? Kunnar means in German it is called as customer. That's the one. And what is that now? See, all BI content objects starts with, what is that now? 0. All the ready-made objects starts with what? So wherever you see an object starting with 0 is nothing but your ready-made object, that is your BI content object. Now as of now you use some objects which are starting with 0. What is that? 0 currency, 0 unit, 0 cal day, all these things. So did I create them? I directly started using that. So that is what is ready-made. See now observe here. I'm just searching that ready-made object name is for Kunal called as here 0 customer. If it is installed, you can check here. So now what is that here? We didn't create this. It's already inbuilt. Just observe the properties of this. What is that now? This is character length is what? Can you observe now here? Character length is, and you can go and look at the attributes. What is that attribute? Let us say address. Address is what? Again character length is 10, and is lowercase is selected? No, right? So here also you can just check where is that address? This is what? A character length is 10. Just check now, is there lowercase selected or not? Can you see, is there any lowercase here selected? No, right? So like that. So the same properties according to your R3 side, here you are given objects in BI. So next suppose address is done. Let us say I am taking now, what is that now? City. City is what? Character length is 35, lowercase is declared. Okay? Same thing you can observe there. City. City is what? Character length is 35, and you can see here what is that? Understand? So same as your R3 system, the ready-made object has been given in your BI system. Okay? Understand now? Like that. So now here all BI content object starts with what? 0. And what is that other part? See, all BI content objects are available in a version called, what is that now? All the ready-made objects are available in a version called as what? Delivered. So as of now you have seen versions like new, active and modified or revised. But when it comes to ready-made objects, they are in which version now? They are in delivered version. So can you use a delivered version object directly? We can use only the objects which are available in a version called what? Active. I cannot use new, I cannot use revised. Same way I cannot use delivered also. So I can use only which are in active version. And what is that? See, so whenever we want to use BI content objects, so whenever we want to use what? BI content objects, we have to what has to be done? Install them. Clear the logic? So when you want to use this ready-made objects, what you have to do is you have to, I cannot use directly, so I have to install them. So that is what is BI content installation. And what is it here? So whenever we install BI content objects, it creates a copy from active version. So when you install this ready-made object, what happens? Delivered will not be converted into active. Delivered will not be converted into delivered will be delivered itself. Delivered will be one more copy will be created from delivered version into active version. So earlier you have seen when I am creating object version was new, when I activate it version changes from new to active. But here it's not like that. Delivered will be delivered itself. One more copy will be created into active. Why? Because suppose imagine delivered is converted into active. Let us say I am installing some cube. Imagine this ready-made cube has some 20 info objects, and let us say the delivered is converted into. Now what is the version of that particular cube now? Active. So now 20 objects are there in this cube. Suppose I add some more 10 more objects. Now how many objects are there in this cube now? 30. Now what is the active version is? Again with 30 objects. But tomorrow I want to use the same kind of cube again. Is it possible? That's why what has been done, the standard provided by SAP will be like that itself. One more copy will be created into active version. Understand the logic now? Right? And so whenever you start extracting data from R3, so what you will do? We always use BI content objects. We generally don't go with the user defined. So I have shown you user defined objects as of now because if I start using a ready-made cube, you will not understand anything. So that's why first we have defined all the objects. Then I am going to show you right now how to use the ready-made objects. Clear? Right. Then the T code. Okay, you can use a T code called RSOR BCT. Okay, to install your ready-made objects, go with a T code called RSOR BCT. Or what you can do is, you can go with RSA1, then go with the BI content tab. Anything is one and the same. So once you come to RSA1, what is it you have? A tab called BI content, right? So what I can do, same thing, RSOR BCT. So same thing, it is coming now RSA1 BI content tab. Now this BI content application, how it is looking now? It looks like 3 frames, right? 1, 2, and so now the look of BI content application will be like 3 frames. What is it now? Left frame, middle frame, and what? Right frame. So the look of BI content application will be like 3 frames, left, middle, and right frame. So RSA1 is only 2 frames, but BI content application is like 3 frames, right? So what is that now? In the middle frame, it will display all the objects, all the ready-made objects. In the middle frame, it will display all the ready-made objects according to what we select in the left frame. In the middle frame, it will display now all the ready-made objects according to what we select in the left frame. Suppose here if I say info providers by info areas, what is that now? You can see the first option is info providers by. Now here categorization is based on your info areas. So that is, it is showing all the ready-made info areas. See what it shows? Info providers means cubes, DSOs, multi-providers, info set we discussed. So expand them. You can observe now some ready-made cubes, right? See, expand the info area. You can observe some ready-made DSOs. Then ready-made info sets are available. Right, ready-made DSOs. Okay, just a second. Right. So middle frame it will display now. So now what does that see? Whenever we want to install some object, or we are still observing here, right? See, next is what you can see, info objects by. Now it will show all the ready-made info areas. Expand them, you can see all the ready-made info objects. So usually you select, what is that now? Types of your object types. So object types means all ready-made info objects at one place, all ready-made info areas at one place, right? All ready-made info cubes, DSO. Categorization based on your object wise. So now whenever you want to install some particular object, okay, whenever you want to install an object, 1 second. Yeah, so whenever we want to install BA content objects, so what you have to do is, you have to cache the object in the middle frame. You have to cache the object in the middle frame and drag it to right frame. So when you want to install some object, what you have to do? You have to catch your object in the, which object you want to install. You have to catch, you have to search for your object in the middle frame and you have to drag it to right frame. Suppose I said here object types. Now see now categorization based on all info areas one place, application components, catalogs, queries. Then you can observe multi-providers, cubes, info sets, info objects, DSOs, transformations, whatnot. Almost all the things are readily given. So what you have to do, search for your object in your middle frame and drag it to right frame. Okay? Now, so in the right frame you can observe there are some options are there. What is it now? Grouping. Then there is something called selection mode. There is something called, right? 1 second. Okay. Lots and lots of objects are available. Now, which object I need to install? Which cube I need to install? The name of the cube and all will be given to you in the specifications. The documents which will be given to you, right, in the real time, those documents will be given like the cube name, because I don't know like of hundreds and thousands of cubes that I have available. Which cube I need to install, all those things will be given to you in some documents. Basically, you'll be given two types of documents will be given. One is called as a blueprint and the other one is called as a configuration document. So blueprint consists of information of about all your target. That is, which cube you need to use, what are the objects that you have to use in this cube, how many dimensions should be there in this cube, which characters has to be assigned to which dimension, and from where all the sources this cube has to get the data from, what kind of reports has to be developed on this cube. That is called as blueprint. And one more is called as a configuration document. So a configuration document is nothing but what I am doing on the system. So where I have to go, what has to be selected, all those things will be available in your. So at the end I will show you some blueprint and configuration documents. So I will give you some documents also, need not worry about that. So you can start practicing both particular documents what I am going to provide it to you. Okay. So now, before dragging your object from middle frame to right frame, you have to select some option called as you have to select some setting called as what? Grouping. So now what is grouping? See, grouping defines what are all the objects that has to be collected. So what are all the objects that has to be collected from what? From middle frame to grouping defines what are all the objects that has to be collected from middle frame to right frame along with what? Installing object. So grouping defines what? What are the objects that has to be collected from middle frame to right frame along with your installing object. Suppose I need to install some particular ready-made info cube, or let us say I want to create a cube. What is required for creating a cube? One is to create a cube. What are the things required? There should be one info area. Without info area, can you create a cube? And they should have some info objects. After creating info area and info objects only, I can create a info. Same way, when I want to install a ready-made cube, there are some prerequisites which has to be installed. Same way like info area, and that means when I drag a cube, dragging a cube will it enough? Along with the cube, it has to fetch info area as well as info objects also. That means, that is what is defined by grouping. So grouping defines what are all the objects that has to be selected from middle frame to right frame along with what? Installing object. Suppose my installing object is a cube. When I drag a cube from middle frame to right frame, along with the cube, what are the objects that it has to fetch? That's nothing but your grouping. So you have different types of groupings are there. The first one is called only necessary objects. Only. First type of grouping is what? Only necessary objects. Now what it will do? All the necessary required objects. It collects all the necessary required objects which are used to create what? The installing object. Clear now? So what it will do now? It collects all the necessary required objects which are used to create your. So now suppose example for a cube. Suppose you are dragging a cube from middle frame to right frame. So example for a cube, what is that it is going to fetch now? Info area plus, right. So now example for a cube, what is that it is going to collect? Cube plus info area plus, what is that now? Info object. Okay. Suppose, now just observe now, suppose you want to install some particular cube. So what I am doing, left frame I am selecting object types. First grouping, what is that grouping option now? Only. So I said now first you have to select grouping. There will be 4 types are there, in that I am selecting only necessary objects. Then middle frame which you want to install now? Cube, right? So select cube, expand it and double click on select objects. So it will display now all the ready-made cubes that are available. See how many ready-made cubes are there? Some hundreds of cubes are there, right? Now out of this, which cube has to be installed? As I said, will be given to you in the form of specifications. So just search for your cube. Suppose you want to search for your sales cube. So your sales cube starts with 0 ST. Suppose you want to go for purchase, it will start with 0 PUR. Suppose you want to go for inventory, it will start with inventory control, like that. Suppose you want for some sales cube, I am starting with what? 0 SD. Now what you can see here, 0 SD underscore C01 is what? Customer. Next is, now what we said in R3, when you want to extract data related to sales, in R3 now I have sales means what is it now I said? You have inquiry, quotation, orders, delivery and billing. That is how this is sales process. So now when you want to extract suppose delivery data, you can use which cube now? 0 SD underscore. And what is that you can see? Sales overview. Overview means entire sales data, orders plus deliveries plus billing. So from normalized, you are converting into denormalized. Can you understand that? And you want delivery service or only orders, right? Service level orders. All those things are your ready-made. Suppose you want a cube called 0SD underscore C01. Select this particular cube and click on. Now it has started collecting the objects from what? From the middle frame to what are the objects it is collecting now? One is, I said necessary objects. Now along with the cube it fetches info area as well as info object. Okay, that is first type of grouping, only necessary objects. So now second type of grouping is called in data flow before. So the name itself indicates what? Before the flow of data. So what is that in data flow before means what? Name itself what? Before the, that is before loading of data. Now if you look at a cube, if you take any object, below the object there are some objects, above the object there are some objects. Right? So in data flow before means before loading, that is below the object what are the things available. Suppose cube is there, cube is below the cube, what you have? Cube is depending on what? That is necessary object, not dependent. Cube is getting data from where? Transformation. That is from data source. That means cube is depending on what? Transformation. Then above the cube you have some objects. What is that now? After loading data to the cube, what you will do? You will create queries. You created multi-providers. You created. Those are all multi-providers depending on cube. cube is depending on transformation. If you see the flow, what is that now? You have some things which are below the cube. There are some things which are above. So below means that is in data flow before. Above means in data flow. See now, what it will do in data flow before means it collects necessary objects. So any grouping, what is that now? Necessary objects is must. Any grouping you take, necessary objects is mandatory. Because without that, we cannot use that, right? So it collects necessary objects plus objects on which installing object is depending on. What it will do in data flow before now? It collects necessary objects plus objects on which what? Installing object is depending on. So cube is depending on what? Transformations. That's what. Objects on which installing object is depending on. So now example what now? What is that it is going to collect? One is plus what? Info objects plus what is the other part now? Your plus what? Transformations. Clear the logic now? Okay. So now just observe now what is it has collected now? You guys come to the right frame, expand it. What is it has collected? One is info area and other one is info objects. Because I have used grouping as what? Suppose if I use grouping as, now again it started collecting now. Now, third type of grouping is called in data flow, that is after loading data into the cube. That is before loading data into the cube. Now this is after the flow of data. So what it will do? Same thing. It collects necessary objects plus objects which are depending on the it collects necessary objects plus objects which are depending on the installing object. Clear now? So now example for cube, what is that? What it will collect now? Info area plus info objects plus what? If you have suppose any queries are there, then you may have some multi-providers. Okay. So just observe now. So what is it has got now in data flow before means? Info area plus info object plus some transformations. Suppose if you say afterwards, and last fourth type of grouping is in data flow before and afterwards. So it's combination of Right, so now, what is that in data flow before and after means? It is a combination of 2 plus 3 means the second type of grouping as well as the third type. Okay, it collects necessary objects plus objects on which installing object is depending on plus which are depending on the installing object. So now, so just observe now this is afterwards. What it has got now? The ready-made queries, what is that? So sales volume, top customers, order entry analysis, incoming orders, product analysis, customer returns. All these are the ready-made queries which are available on this particular input. You know, that is grouping. Clear? Grouping is clear. So before dragging your object, select any one of the grouping. According to that, it will fetch the objects from the middle frame to right frame. So then grouping is done. So then next you have something called as collection mode. Collection mode defines how objects has to be collected from middle frame to right frame. So what is collection mode? It defines what? How the objects has to be collected from what? Middle frame to right frame. Right? So now I am just dragging a cube. Along with the cube, it is system is automatically bringing info area, and that is what is called automatic collection. So all the necessary objects are something it is collecting automatically by the system itself. Right? Suppose if you say manual collection, I am dragging a cube and you will get only. So now you have two types are there. So one is automatic collection and second one is manual collection. So if you say manual, your grouping will not work. If you say manual, what happens? Your grouping will not work. Suppose, see now I removed this particular cube and I am saying collection mode is what? Manual collection. Default was automatic. Now you put any grouping. Now I am dragging that particular cube. What is happening? Only what it is collecting. So now each and everyone manually you need to start collecting, but you do know what are the info objects in that particular queue. So that's why what we will do, we generally don't go with manual collection, we go with automatic collection, then select what grouping you want. Before that, if you want, you can just go and observe before installing. Just go and check is there that particular cube available. Now what is that cube name? 0sg underscore. What is the name? No object was, that means that particular ready-made cube right now it is not it. So now just go and start installing it. See how to install. First what you have to select? Grouping. Then what you have to select? Collection mode. Then left frame I am selecting object types. Middle frame I want to install a cube. Then double click on. Or it will show earlier what are the things you have dragged. Use that also. So drag your object from middle frame to right frame. Right, so now I have collected the objects. Now once you collect it, it's not that again I am installing now some cube. Let us say I have two cubes, cube 1 and cube 2. So let us say cube 1 has some 30 info objects, cube 2 has some 40 info objects. Let us say I have already installed cube 1. That means 30 info objects are already available in which version now? Active version. Now I'm starting installing cube 2. Let us say out of cube 1 and cube 2 there are 10 objects which are common available in both cube 1 as well as. Now the 10 objects are already installed at the time of installation of your cube 1. When you are installing cube 2, you need not install those particular 10 objects. That means how can I understand whether it is actively available or not? By seeing something here called active version available. Suppose, observe now, let us see now for some info objects you can see there is green icon here. For some info objects there is what? See, they are available in now active version. But for some info objects there is no. And if you can observe, wherever there is no green icon, no green symbol, can you see now one checkbox has been selected called what? You may have collected all the things, but for which you are selecting this install checkbox, only that particular object will be installed. See now? For green, this is not yet selected. So like that. So if you can observe now, see, for which are the objects you select that install checkbox, only those objects will be installed. Okay? Right, so like that, drag the object, then select what are the install checkbox you want. Then after this, you have to click on install. And what you will say, we generally don't install it in the front end. We always, if you say install in the front end, what happens? Until the installation takes place, your application will be kept waited. That's why we generally don't prefer what? We prefer always to install it in your background. So just click yes. So now it will give you a background job. So this is the background job which is running now. See now, just I am copying this job name. So if you can observe, background installation is running, front end, your application is set to improve your processing performance. Now I have copied the job name. I want to see the background job status. Okay, to see the status of this background job, you have to go with a T code called SM37. To see the status of the background job, which T code you have to use is SM37. Then it's asking to give the job name. So just what is the job name you copied there, paste it here. Then click on execute. So what is the job status now? Active means still installation is running now. So you need to wait until it comes as finished, means your installation of cube is finished. So now what you can do, just go and check now. Just kind of a refreshing. So just search for your cube now. Can you observe now your cube has been? Did I create this cube? No, right? So now if you can go and check, what is it now? Already some dimensions are there. Customer, I have an object called sold to party here. Material, then sales areas, distribution channel, division, sales organization, version, then the value type, and something like your key figures. So credit memos, cost, right? Quantity, net value, cost of incoming orders. All these are the key figures which are available in this. So what you will do, you will not straight away work on this particular cube. Not satisfied with the actual ready-made one. I need to add some more info objects, or I need to remove some info objects from this particular cube. That is what, right? So you got the ready-made object, but I may not be satisfied with the ready-made object. So what you have to do, you have to customize it. So when you want to customize it, so you will not directly work on. Why? Because tomorrow you want again, after customizing tomorrow I want to have same kind of thing. Again I need to install it. So instead of that, what you will do, we will create a copy of this. We start creating a. So I say ZSG underscore C01. Copy from what? So just copy it. Now what are the objects you want to remove? Remove them. What are the objects you want to add? Add them, that is customized, and after that. So now you start working on this cube now. This particular ZSG underscore C0. Understand the logic now? So like that. So you can start using the ready-made objects when now you start extracting data from R3 system. No need to create or something. So as of now you have created only for your understanding purpose, but actually the standard practice is using the ready-made objects. Right. So any doubts with this particular concept? Yes, online people?
I just have a doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
For grouping is applicable for all the objects which we
Yes.
have or only for some of the particular objects?
No, grouping is applicable for entire thing.
But we have seen many of the things like aggregations and all those stuff, right? How will be the flow for all of them? For the QB, we know that the flow like mentioned that, right? How about the reporting interface, analyze, many of the things that we there.
Okay.
So how will the flow for them like?
No, that's so now if you want, queries are coming, right? Ready-made queries are there. Yeah. So now I'll just open that ready-made query after installing, then you can go and check that ready-made query. Any customize you want, again, you can customize them.
And one was aggregate is meaning aggregate how will it be like before and after?
Aggregate is afterwards. Aggregate means what? So if you bring aggregate, that what happens now? Aggregate is depending on what?
Cube.
Yes, so that's right. Yes, so that's right. It will get that particular cube also.
So it will show only that flow which is before and after, right? Not everything.
Which one? See?
I'm
See, normally, when you want to install an aggregate, so when I take a cube and I'll say in data flow afterwards. So at that time, cube aggregate also will come into picture, right? See? Suppose you selected for aggregate in necessary object I am saying. Just observe now. For necessary object for aggregate will become what? Your cube.